Hello, friends. Over the past year, I've had the privilege of engaging with deep thinking guests around actionable conversations on how to navigate crises before us with moral courage, fortitude, and hope. To celebrate our 1 year anniversary and the first 16 episodes of Facing the Moment, we're bringing back what listeners indicated were some of the most impactful segments. Conversations that moved people, challenged perspectives, and inspired action. In this short video, you'll hear a few inspiring insights from different voices, each sharing a point of view that could shift how we think, how we live, or how we lead. If something resonates with you, we invite you to listen to the full episodes and be part of this growing community of listeners. Let's get into it, shall we?
I feel probably the strongest imperative is to find that one experience, voice, person. They could be alive. They could be alive in a new way, not living here in this way, but in a different way, that brings a sense of companionship to your life, brings a sense of affirmation to your life, brings a sense of of being known deeply in some deep way, and to reflect on that experience and to return to that experience as often as possible, to really know that we're not alone in this experience. We're really not alone. We all have to go through whatever it is we go through and the unique ways that we do.
We need to come together and be together in the same space and value all human life as sacred, that we do not have to agree in order to come together. We don't have to agree in order to value all human life as sacred.
So when people start to see people coming together, so I think of even, here in Guelph, when people start building community gardens and looking at species protection and starting in the community and building connections with each other and these networks, getting together, and then it increases and increases, if that makes sense. So I think the connection, I see this even at larger levels where these organizations, the Climate Psychology Alliance is sort of mostly American based now. We're trying to connect with as Canadians, and then now building connections into Mexico. So we've created a kind of mind-blowing mental health support in various ways for people all over North America that are experiencing, for example, like the impacts of the LA fires and floods and the fires here. So connection always, to me, is the key thing.
I think often we take time to list the external factors, the political factors, the academic concerns, the assessments, and so forth. And in addition to that, it's not just those external factors or what's happening to individuals. What I see is, it gets back to what I was saying in my introduction, really looking at what's happening to the fabric of community and connection. And there are so many concerning signs of disconnection. So in a local and global climate that where we're encountering so much fear and adversity and polarization and conflict and violence, a lot of people are experiencing more and more fear. And in that fear, more and more tendency to say, how can I and my people and my family and the people like me be safe? And then there's more and more tendency to point and blame and disconnect and make assumptions and judge. And it creates this severing and rift in the fabric of community. And community is where learning happens. It's in the fabric and the holding of that community that we encircle our children with the safety that they can land each morning, knowing they're welcomed and loved and belong, that their system then can relax to be open and curious to learn.
Kansas City, we have an annual walk, a survivor's walk, and people release balloons and they celebrate together. And that connectedness is very, very powerful. It's a powerful kind of day when that happens. So I would absolutely reach out. I might say, if you also, before somebody has passed and a family member, they might want to read No Bad Parts and find out about this kind of intervention. They might want to seek access to the therapist. If they're worried about somebody, and the therapist can seek permission from the the client, the patient, to have access to the family. And therapists don't do this enough. Encourage this and bring them in. And then also they can put information that's hidden and not being seen. And they can also create a kind of mobile hospital. Sometimes, hey, can you stay with this person? Is there family members can kind of hang with them and be with them during this really tough time right now where they've lost their job and so on.
The beautiful and hopeful thing, though, in Minnesota is that those who are not directly threatened are showing up, and as they should, and are showing up for their neighbors. There is all kinds of stuff about the value of immigrants, refugees, and asylees that are out. That's graffitied. It's messaged and supporting in all the ways. So I was at a training. It's called Upstander Training for community observers, 80 folks. This was even after it was announced that there'd be fewer agents here, but and it was primarily white folks, as it should be, being trained in civil disobedience, really, and how do you put your body out there, and there's kind of a menu what people. People who want to do something, it's, well, what do one thing. It's there are people who are protesting at the Whipple building where they take detainees. There's people who are standing over bridges with a sign. There's just a lovely old man in my neighborhood who stands on his corner with his one sign. People who are donating, people who are working at the legislative level, people who are delivering food, all that kinds of stuff. And people who are out guarding the schools that drop off and pick up. So there's what's being encouraged is, you do you and do it deeply.
Thank you for listening to this video compilation and to the Facing the Moment podcast. If this message inspired you, we invite you to support the work we're doing. Your donation helps us continue sharing meaningful stories that impact lives around the world. Please visit foundationifs.org and hit the donate button to give. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you for the next episode.